quite different as well, and we can get into it as we jump into our second best of 3 of the night.
Indeed, we shall. Kicking things off here on ley lines once again, where we're here in the top right-hand corner of the map, sweating all the way in the top right. We have our red Brood War Protoss player coming out from the land of Poland. He is going to be representing Team Liquid. He is also the manager of Team Liquid. We have MaNa.
Definitely the reason why you got this job, like, is that he's like, well, you have to hire me. Like, why? It's like, I mean, my name is in the title. Yeah. I mean, it's I didn't make the rules.
I mean, that
pay me.
I mean, that's his official title. If you look at the latest thing that Team Liquid put.
True. Do love to see it. As spawning in the bottom left-hand corner, we have the SC2 Protoss player, the blue Protoss from South Korea. It is ReBellioN.
So, coming into this, as usual, my eyes are going to be more on the Brood War player, but it's nice to know that in both Brood War and StarCraft 2, Double Gate is still what you open up with in a PvP.
Oh yeah, 2 gate openers from MaNa, 2 gate opener from ReBellioN as well. As you said, everything is looking normal for the time being, and when it comes to PvP, usually, not always, but usually it turns into, you know, Stalker from the StarCraft 2 player, and the other player, the Brutal player, rushing into Dragoons, of course. Dragoons are kind of like their bread and butter composition in this matchup, into Reavers behind it, but we'll see, because as we mentioned before, like MaNa, he has been playing this mod, but I don't know how much, and I wonder if maybe he has his own unique take in his approach to this.
Yeah, we'll definitely have to keep our eyes a little bit more on MaNa here. Dragoons, they are, like you said, the bread and butter of Protoss. They are a pretty unique unit in a sense, because it feels like they fill in half the niche of the Stalker, in that they are the primary range unit that you're going to be using for most of the time, but also they're not quite as strong as an Immortal, but they're still a lot more durable and a lot tougher than Stalkers are.
Oh yeah, 100%. Like, there's such a different dynamic here, because Dragoons, they are a little bit more tanky, as you mentioned. They also have more range. For those that are curious, Dragoon range is currently being researched from the Cyber Core, so that will of course support the Dragoons. The downside, those of the Dragoons are not as mobile, right? They don't have Blink, so there's less micro potential with the Dragoon as opposed to the Stalker for SC2, so that is going to be a dynamic that we can see come into play. Until then, ReBellioN does go for a Robo before Expand, so a very safe play here by ReBellioN. We'll have access to early Immortal production and an early Warpism as well.
Yeah, Dragoons being less mobile than Stalkers feels like a bit of an understatement, but yeah, thankfully this is the StarCraft 2 engine, so we don't have to contend with too much awkward pathing. It still happens from time to time. Somehow they've been able to port that into StarCraft 2.
Yeah, as we see the Dragoons, they do dive on in. The one Stalker already goes down, the second Stalker as well, and ReBellioN is getting caught out here.
Yeah, doesn't even need to target down that Sentry, as the Sentry has already used up all of its energy, and yeah, how's that for tanky for you? Dragoons, head-to-head, will always beat Stalkers. The Immortal will pop out, though, and that should just about put an end to this aggression.
Oh my god, just before the Artosis pylon goes down, one more volley and it would have fallen, but alas, ReBellioN, he barely holds on. Again, the shield battery was not ready in time for ReBellioN either, but he will be able to force this back. The Immortal has arrived, and MaNa will have to back off.
Yeah, still pumping out those Dragoons, once again, the bread and butter Protoss unit. But he's achieved his goal. He's applied a lot of pressure on ReBellioN already, so well, he's going to keep these Dragoons around to kind of keep him in check and kind of see if he can scout anything. Primarily, he's focused back home. He's producing more probes, he's getting another gateway, and yeah, just getting ready for the counterattack, or potential counter-harass, that he's anticipating here from ReBellioN.
Yeah, for the time being, MaNa, he's just going pure Dragoon. It's just pure Dragoon at this point, just rallying across the map, building up his Dragoon count to try to pick away at any stray units. So far, he has traded very well against ReBellioN. Likewise, still no shield battery here at the natural, which is a little bit concerning. MaNa, he could try to pick off another unit, whether it's Stalker, whether it's the Sentry.
Yeah, it's a very delicate dance here. that ReBellioN is playing. He does have the Warp Prism, another unit that isn't present in Brute War, so he can juggle very, very well, but we'll see how far that can really take him as these Dragoons with the additional range. Yeah, that Warp Prism can be, if it moves a little bit too close to the Brute War army, can be right for the picking.
Yeah, it really can be. But now a second Immortal has arrived. Now MaNa, he has to respect the Immortal army. He has to back off. He has to retreat. One Dragoon goes down. Back at home, we do have the Citadel on the way. Citadel of Adun. And I believe that should be for charge. So the MaNa can now incorporate some charge also inside these Dragoons. But he does come in for the surround.
Yeah, beautiful flank coming out here. Ooh, even takes out the Warp Prism, which had a Immortal inside of it. But in the ground army of ReBellioN, 2 Immortals. And all of these Stalkers, they are enough, and they will chase MaNa all the way back home. Something to keep in mind for Brute War Protoss, no shield batteries either. So MaNa in a very precarious position.
Yeah, he does have some shield batteries on the way, but he needs a little bit more time for them to really kick in. ReBellioN does push in, and the shield batteries are not ready. One of them just now finishing up.
I do have shield batteries.
Yeah.
Oh, my mistake.
No overcharge though.
I just assumed they didn't. Yeah. True. Yeah.
Overcharge is not going to be a thing here. Meanwhile, nice force fields from ReBellioN, just zoning away most of those Dragoons. Again, he cannot blink over the wall. Meanwhile, charge almost getting denied there. The boys have to be pulled.
Yeah, the boys are being pulled, and the boys are starting to get lost. It's another huge advantage that StarCraft 2 Protoss has, is these sentries, those force fields. They're really good. They really do a lot when it comes to just zoning everything away.
Oh yeah, exactly. We saw some beautiful micro there by ReBellioN. He juggled those Immortals so insanely well. They are so low, so few shots left to bring them down. But last they survive, they're generating their HP, their shields even, and so many workers are falling. It looks like MaNa, he is being broken here at the natural.
Yeah, no warp gate either here from MaNa, unfortunately. So really struggling to get those reinforcements. GG is called, and ReBellioN going to be taking game number 1.
Whew. GG, well played. A very intense game 1 here. MaNa initially had a lot of momentum, had a lot of control, but ReBellioN was able to build up the Immortal count, and more importantly, with those Immortals, was able to finally stage a defense and turn that defense into an offense as well. Those Immortals that were so close to going down, both of them were deep in the red, but again, due to the control of ReBellioN, was able to keep them alive.
Yeah, he had the tools. Like I say, those are just tools that aren't available to the Brute War Protoss player, and ReBellioN able to execute it very, very well. I feel like, man, I wish that game went on a little bit longer, because it was very short. Obviously, I mean, I would just like a longer game. I would like to get into our mid-game and potentially our late game so we can get some Darkons in, but yeah, I feel like that game kind of exemplified the differences between Brute War Protoss and StarCraft 2 Protoss. Brute War Protoss, a lot more tanky, a lot less mobile. StarCraft 2 Protoss, a lot less tanky, a lot more mobile.
Yeah, there's just so much micro potential, right? Whether it's with Blink Stalkers or, as we saw there, with Warp Prism Micro and Warp Prism Control, right? Like, there's just so much more potential there with that kind of army. So much micro potential or micro expression. I think that's kind of like the verbiage that is used. And yeah, ReBellioN using that quite well there in that attack. A very intense game and very short game as well. But now we're jumping into game number 2, and we'll see how ReBellioN can bounce back. I'm assuming that he's going to be rocking that Brute War Protoss instead, and I'm excited to see his builds, because I do know that he has been investing a lot of time here into StarCraft EVO.
Yeah. Show me the Darkons.
You really want them? Yeah. Oh my god. Let's go.
They're so busted. I love them. Regardless, we are going to be continuing our series now on Whispers of Gold. We're over here in the top left-hand corner map, starting all the way in the top left. We have our red StarCraft 2 Protoss player coming out from the land of Poland. He is, of course, going to be representing Team Liquid. He is the manager of Team Liquid. We have MaNa.
And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner, we have the South Korean Protoss player, the Brute War Protoss, leading the series 1-0. Can he take the 2 and make it to face off against Shin in the winners match? It is ReBellioN.
And I forgot how much the classic or the Brute War Nexus just looks like a motherboard heatsink. Or it looks like a computer
True.
component, you know?
Yeah. True. It's like it's gonna be on top of like the CPU. It's beautiful.
Yeah, it's cooling it down.
It is. Oh my god. I like it. It's nice.
Yeah.
My PC feels safe with it around.
Yeah. It's not gonna break. I feel like it's been a while since I've seen the classic skins in StarCraft 2. Is it just me, or have they updated it a little bit graphically? Because I remember in the past it looked not as... It looked a little bit worse in the past.
I do know that specifically for StarCraft Evolution, they have been actually like touching up some of the assets.
There we go.
The base may be one of them. You may have caught on to something there, but I think it is, because you're right. Like, it does look cleaner than normal.
Yeah, the regular one looks like a Happy Meal toy. So it looks like a plastic in the game, but this one, yeah, it actually looks like it's part of the map. It actually looks like it fits.
There you go.
Like it's meant to be there, you know?
Do love to see it. Meanwhile, it's going to be another short game because both players did open up 2 gate, but MaNa, he's setting up a proxy pylon here in the center of the map, setting up for an all-in, I would imagine.
Oh, is it going to get scouted? Not quite here, as the Zealot just passes the pylon.
Also, as it is going to be, oh my god, a double robo all-in here from MaNa. Oh my god, very committed, very aggressive. Also, I was about to say, do you notice something odd about the Zealot that's patrolling? That
It's very skinny.
It's very skinny.
And
weird,
it also has dreads.
It does have dreads, which is nice. But what's weird about it, and what stands out, of course, is the fact that his side blades are unactivated. So he's just walking around.
True. Yeah, it's not always on. He has a safety on.
Yeah.
He only activates it when it comes to attack. He kind of looks like a Predator.
He does.
A little bit.
It's very different. Out. There we go.
There we go. Oh! You can see the blades a little bit.
You can. Meanwhile, the pilot, the robot has been scouted. ReBellioN, he does confirm, and back at home, what does he have at home to defend? Did open up Robo, thankfully, has a shield battery in the main base, and he is going for a bay. It looks like ReBellioN is trying to rush into Reavers.
Yep, that's one way of shutting this down. They are the disruptors of Brute War, but it's going to take him a little while to get them out. That's a... I forget the name of the ship, but it's like the transport vessel. Right? Shuttle, that's what it was.
Yeah. There we go. The shuttle is on the way. The shuttle, of course, has a lower pickup range than the Warp Prism. That's one of the big advantages of the Warp Prism. You can pick up from far away. Shuttle is far lower than that. Fun fact, there was actually a patch that was released not too long ago, which actually increased it to 1. So there's a slight amount of pickup range now with the shuttle. So there's some micro potential with it.
Yeah, you don't have to be directly underneath it.
Exactly.
Let's see how well MaNa's able to utilize it. The Artosis pylon goes down, and everything gets depowered. All ReBellioN has is all that he's got. 4 Dragoons and a Dream. Oh, and a shuttle.
Yeah, and with that so far, he is holding on. Will lose 6 probes. Natural's under fire, but again, the natural does not matter. It's really tanking shots here. Playing time. The Robo has been repowered. Can he get into that Reaver, though?
Oh, he wants it. He wants it so bad.
Oh my god.
But it's going to take a while for him to get into it. Only 1 Dragoon remaining. That's just the power of these 2 Immortals.
Yeah, exactly. 2 Dragoons did go down. You can see he's trying to target down the Immortals, but GG gets called. It's just too much. And MaNa will tie things up 1-1. We are going to the ace match.
Here we go. Fortunately, not quite able to get into that Dragoon, but regardless, that was a very intense game number 2.
Oh, it really, really was. Again, unfortunately, ReBellioN, he did not have his backup pylon on the way, so because of that, the Artosis pylon went down, and there was just no production. He could not make anything to help defend, and that was game then and there. If he had maybe a backup pylon to keep at least the Robo alive or up and running, then maybe he could have made a Reaver, and maybe could have pulled off for defense, but yeah, that was a brutal moment, definitely.
Yeah, it all came down to that Artosis pylon. I mean, things are going to be rough for him regardless. I mean, Immortals are just so good, especially against Dragoons, especially if you also have a Warp Prism to help you juggle them. But yeah, if he just kept had another pylon, if he was just able to get a couple more Dragoons, get into that Reaver a little bit quicker, it might not have won, but I do think he would have survived at the very least.
Oh yeah, it could have been a different outcome. Definitely could have been. Regardless, we're now getting into game number 3. We're diving into the ace match, and finally we can feature not an SE2 map, but instead a StarCraft Evolution X Brood War map.
Yes, and it's a 4-player map. I've missed these.
Yeah, exactly. In the map pool, there are 4-player maps, there are 3-player maps. It's exciting. It's something that is now no longer a thing in SE2, but we bring it back for StarCraft Evolution.
Indeed, we do. Here we go. Destructible Assimilator gates.
We'll get there.
All right, here we are. Going to be spawning into Troy, a 4-player Brood War map. And spawning over here in the top right-hand corner of the map, spawning all the way in the top right. We, of course, have our red Brood War Protoss coming down from the land of Poland. And is, of course, going to be representing Team Liquid as their MaNa Jar. He is MaNa.
And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner, we have the South Korean Protoss player, the SE2 Protoss, representing himself and the clan NWCE. It is ReBellioN. As you mentioned, the players have to game a little bit when it comes to scouting their opponents. ReBellioN does go for the vertical scout with the probe, and he will get eyes on the setup. He will confirm MaNa has spawned right above him.
Indeed, and from here, MaNa can make an educated guess about where ReBellioN has spawned.
Yeah, based on the angle of the probe scout, he can assume that the scout was from the south, of course, and he can try to piece that all together. So with that, he can confirm. But as you mentioned, this is a 4-player spawn map, and that, as a result, it can be quite difficult to be hyper-aggressive and cheese because you don't know where your opponent is, at least early on. It can be difficult to really bring that all together.
Man, that was the best part about having 4-player maps in the map pool.
Yeah.
You're almost guaranteed to have at least one macro game.
Exactly. Like, if people cheese, it was just a really risky thing to do. Meanwhile, MaNa is actually scouting horizontally instead. So he gambles a little bit, and he does gamble incorrectly. He assumed that the fast scout was a horizontal scout, not a vertical one. So he's still a little bit in the dark as to where ReBellioN is.
Yeah, and so for the time being, both our players are, but especially MaNa, just going to be opening up a bit more defensively. Double gate, it's still the Cybercore, right? Yeah, it's still the Cybercore for the Brood War Protoss, but it has a different function.
Oh yeah, exactly. See, for Protoss, it isn't too confusing. For Brood War Zerg, it's a little bit weird because they use the model of the Roach Warren for the Defiler Den. Because Brood War Zerg obviously doesn't have roaches, so they just use that building as a Defiler Den instead. So that can be a little bit confusing. But thankfully, Cybercore is a Cybercore for Protoss.
Yeah. Cybercore, Gateway's a gateway.
Temple Archives,
Warp Gate, though. Yeah.
True.
It's a little bit different, yeah.
As Dragoons are moving out, they're going to be poking in towards that natural. So far, it is a full wall, by the way, for ReBellioN, but there are rocks involved as well, and they are slowly being chipped away out. We do see ReBellioN poking away at those Dragoons. There is a shield battery, and it will support those Stalkers.
Yeah, but no Nexus, so the overcharge available. Only one single pylon keeping this all together, and it will get taken out. Warp Gate will not complete.
Very nice pick off here by MaNa. Once again, shuts down the Artosis pylon. Backup pylons are on the way, and MaNa can try to chip away at this wall and pick off a couple of extra units. Behind this is going for a Robo, and we could be seeing MaNa working towards something like Reavers. We almost saw it in the last game, but we didn't quite get it.
No, we did not. But do you see what I see? Coming from the side of ReBellioN. Oh wait, he's StarCraft 2. Okay. Not gonna be Dark Hunt yet, but you know what? DTs.
We'll get one day, Pappy. We'll get him. Don't you worry. But here we go. It is going to be the Dark Shrine. So ReBellioN going into Dark Templar here is now reestablishing his natural base, is fortifying himself. Meanwhile, across the map, there is the bay. There's also the observatory. Fun fact, you do need the observatory to actually make observers. You need the bay for the Reavers. And MaNa, he's working towards what looks to be Reaver drops. He's getting there.
Yeah, slowly but surely.
There it is.
Forgot the observatory was a requirement.
Yeah.
Does the observatory do anything else, or is it literally just for observers?
I think it has observer speed upgrade on it. I think there's some upgrades on it, but outside of that, it's just for the observer.
So it's literally just for observers.
Yeah, actually,
everything it does, it's for the observer to get them, and it's to upgrade them as well.
Mm-hmm. So there is that. I would have to double check. I don't think you need the observatory for shuttle speed. Shuttle speed is an upgrade. I think you only need the bay for that, but I'd have to look into it. We'll see then. As he has arrived. Oh my god.
Yeah, the observer not quite in position to help out.
Yeah, not quite.
Is about to pop. There we go. Oof. That was an insta kill.
DT.
It actually ate one of the Reaver projectiles.
Scarabs. Yeah, ate one of the scarabs.
Scarabs, that's what it's called.
As the Reaver has arrived, shuttle is on the way as well. Meanwhile, the main armies are about to clash here in the center of the map, but MaNa does get the better of a ReBellioN here. Gets a couple of extra shots off. Blink coming into play though.
And as we can see once again in a head-to-head, Dragoons will always beat Stalkers. So some nice little bits of micro, some good blinks coming out from ReBellioN, but yeah, once Blink is on cooldown, these Stalkers are essentially sitting ducks.
Exactly. I love the more aggressive movement by MaNa as well. Like, you can see that he has to stutter step forward to chase down those Stalkers as well. Otherwise, he would most likely have a more inefficient fight if he was unable to really get on top of them. The Reaver has arrived. It's loaded up full of Scarabs as well. And he's going to try to break it through that natural. At the same time, DT does get into the main.
And it's swiping away these probes, all forced to relocate to the natural base. No observer on the way just yet.
Yeah, MaNa meanwhile pushing into natural. Reaver going off. Oh my god, does connect in the mineral line. Massive connection. Another one going off here on the Stalkers as well. The ReBellioN, he doesn't have much to defend. There's no Immortals, there's no Disruptors. It's just purely Blink Stalker.
And they're blinking right on top of the Reaver. Will be able to take it out, but I fear that there may just be too many Dragoons.
Yeah,
for ReBellioN to really defend.
Exactly. Again, the shield battery is out of energy. Those Dragoons, they are just popping off here against the Stalkers. There's only 2 Stalkers left.
And some fancy little bits of juggling here coming out from MaNa. A couple more reinforcements coming in.
Yeah, Overcharge does come into play. ReBellioN barely holding on. He does force back the army, but there's still just so many Dragoons as they make their way forward. They stutter step in. They focus down the Stalkers. Once again, the boys, they have to be pulled.
And they're actually helping out quite a bit. They're zoning away a lot of these Dragoons. They're starting to get really injured. Once again, one of the big advantages about StarCraft 2 Protoss is the fact that you're able to reinforce so much quicker with Warp Gate.
Yeah, you really are. And ReBellioN, he's barely holding on with those reinforcements. Likewise with those boys as well. So as the shield batteries, Overcharge is soon going to be available once again. So he is holding, but MaNa, he reinforces once again with another Reaver. Up.
Yep. Oh! Almost got sniped. The shuttle does get sniped, and the Reaver falls with it. ReBellioN taking a little bit of a risk, blinking straight forward outside of shield battery range, but it looks like he has enough.
Yeah, it was a bold move here from ReBellioN, but he does force back the army. He does shut down and chase down the Dragoons. Does have some momentum going his way. The Zealots are helping to tank some of those shots. Is going to be chasing him back all the way down to his natural. Oh my god.
Oof. The Reaver.
It pops off.
Scarab explosions. They're just, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, Disruptors.
Yeah.
Why can't you do that?
That's a fine-looking AoE Protoss unit. Why doesn't mine do that? Look like that?
Where it just targets onto a unit, it just pops off. You don't have to like micro. You don't have to try to like chase units down. No, none of that.
Yeah, and it actually kills units too.
As we do see ReBellioN going for it, once again, actually a Zealot drop into the main. This is going to be a slow drop. Charge is still on the way for ReBellioN. At the same time, MaNa pushing in once again towards that natural.
Yeah, the Reaver slowly edging its way forward. It's a lot of Dragoons here to defend it.
Yeah, a lot of Dragoons, once again, they dive in. They don't quite focus down the Reaver. One shot is going to be going off. Ooh. Reaver shot does connect, but the Reaver does go down.
Yeah, but that one shot may have been all mana needed. So many Dragoons here, but the battery overcharge, once again, proving invaluable.
Yeah, the overcharge does allow ReBellioN to defend. Meanwhile, across the map, Zealots, they were popping off, but alas, MaNa does defend. He's getting a third base behind this as well, expanding towards the left-hand side. So MaNa, he is not all in by any means. Has been hyper-aggressive, don't get me wrong, but he is expanding.
Yeah, as is ReBellioN, though quite a little bit slower than MaNa has been able to.
Yeah, it's a little bit slower, does find the base, does go for the warping.
Yeah. I look at StarCraft 2 Zelda now, I'm just like, calm down, guys. You don't have to have your Warp Blade activated at all times.
They're wasting electricity, clearly, right? It's just always on. They're just burning through their phone battery.
Turn it off when you're not using it, yeah.
God damn. These kids nowadays, they don't know how good they have it, you know?
Yeah, shaking my head. They don't have to wait like 10 hours for their phone to be fully charged.
True.
But then again, their phone batteries don't last the whole month anymore. So
exactly. Back in my day, I had to charge my phone once a week. Feels Nokia, man. So you see the Prism being chased down. DTs get dropped though, so we do get a bit of a trade, but the Prism will fall nonetheless. Both players getting into their 3 base economies. ReBellioN finally finishes up with his own charge, does have some map control, and he's actually headed towards the third base of MaNa.
Yeah, it's just looking mighty vulnerable right now. MaNa just not at all in position to defend against this.
The gas geysers, he's going for them. Let's go.
Yo. He's blocking it off.
He is.
His base is forfeit. No recall for Brute War Protoss.
Exactly, as we do see across the map going for a base trade. Actually, MaNa, he pushes up in towards the natural. Nice force fields, does delay some of the Dragoons, but the Reavers, they get dropped over the wall. Overcharge gets popped, but it looks like MaNa, he should be able to break through.
Yeah, we'll be breaking on forward. We'll be taking out a lot of infrastructure as well. ReBellioN, looks like he recalled. No, he didn't. He took the long way around.
Yeah, he's coming in for a bit of a surround here. He's struggling to do so, though, as he dives on the Reaver. The Reaver is going to be targeted down just in time. Does not quite get a shot off, but there's still so many Dragoons.
Yeah, they're starting to get low, but they're still alive, and that's the important bit. As long as they're still alive, they can continue to shoot their shots, get their volleys off, and take out this army. ReBellioN, he does have a lot of warp gates back at home, and he still has that third base up and mining. So he can gather a couple of reinforcements. Yeah,
the third base coming in clutch here for ReBellioN, is mining out as best he can. Likewise, warping in more Zealots. Zealots, they've been doing a great job here at tanking shots of Dragoons to save these Stalkers. And he has been trading well here against the Dragoons, but there still may just be too much. MaNa's still just rallying across the map.
Yeah, as long as we're in the SC2 engine, the supply don't lie. Immortal now out, but nothing to really juggle it with.
Yeah, there's that much less micro potential for ReBellioN. The Immortal is putting in quite a punch, but the Reaver has arrived as well. Gets a shot off. Reaver shot on those Zealots. Does chase them back.
Look at that crater.
Yeah.
Visual effects it leaves behind.
They do pop off. Immortal finally goes down. Boys are being pulled, but it looks like MaNa, he may just have too much here. The Zealots, though.
Yeah, these Zealots really coming in clutch. Helping out alongside with the probes. Dragoons are starting to fall. And yeah, once again, ReBellioN, he is still a player with that third base, but it barely wasn't enough. GG is called, and MaNa will take that series 2-1. GG with both Brood War and FC2 Protoss.
GG, well played. Exactly. MaNa flexing his skill with both StarCraft and Brood War as well. Very nicely done. MaNa will advance on. And towards the end there, you got to see some of the features, as we saw towards the end, how the gas geysers, if they are destroyed, they do actually reveal, you know, actually, I should say larger models that do actually take up, yeah, they take up more space that can block off that location. So we saw that ReBellioN was trying to make use of that, but alas was overwhelmed over time. Unfortunately, we saw that ReBellioN just wasn't able to really get into a solid enough economy to get into his own immortal production. We had immortals towards the end, and they definitely could have been a little bit more useful earlier on as well, but MaNa was just so aggressive. He was so assertive throughout that entire game. He was just barely giving his opponent any room to breathe. He was just constantly knocking down that front door with those Master Dragoons.
Yeah, right from the start of the game, it felt like he put his foot in the gas and just never let up a single time. And what you're saying is true. You know, ReBellioN, maybe he should have gotten a third base a little bit quicker, and that would have helped him get Immortals out a little bit quicker. But when you have that many Dragoons knocking down your door, when you're pretty much only have Stalkers and Shield Batteries to work with at that point in time, it's kind of difficult to be able to spare enough resources to get a Warp Prism, load up a probe in there, go to that third base location, and then start mining immediately. So, yeah, MaNa, he was fully aware of how the units interact with each other. He was well aware of the fact that, you know, Dragoons, they're just kind of a bully unit, and he decided to do some bullying.
Oh yeah, it was very impressive there from MaNa. Again, it was just really cool to see that dynamic, right? How, as you were mentioning, the Dragoons, he was just so aggressive with them. I mean, you have to be when you're up against Stalkers, because as they blink back, he has to chase them down. So he was just always just pushing forward, just non-stop aggression there. And yeah, it was really cool to see. Did eventually overwhelm ReBellioN. I'll be honest, I was favoring ReBellioN coming into this, but you know, expectations thrown out the window. MaNa, he pops up.
He did. Yeah, I mean, you did say that MaNa is coming in as a little bit of a wild card, just because we don't really know how much of SE Evo he's been playing, how much he's, how well he's been able to prepare. But yeah, now that we finally get to see him in action, it looks like he's very much familiarized himself with at least a PvP matchup. But coming up next, he's got a bit of a PvZ to in front of him.
He does. I pose a question to you, Yaku. Do we want to jump into the winners match now, or go on a short break?
You know what? Our series is so far have been pretty quick, so yeah, let's jump into the winners match.
Okay, here we go. So, of course, earlier Shin took down Kiwian 2-0 to advance on. MaNa takes down ReBellioN, and up next we have a PvZ between our two winners to find out who is the first to make it out of Group A.